Hello and welcome to World of Tanks with Dsann. Today I'm going to be looking at a replay of my AT2 British tank destroyer, seen here in the tech tree. And I thought I'd just take a look at it real quick in the garage. Unfortunately, seeing as I sold mine, I'll have to look at it in the tech tree. Now this part is mainly designed to explain the mechanics for newer people and people who might want to refresh their memory as to how, the basics work. If you are not interested in that, just want to see the replay, click on the annotation I put right about now sometime. Now, to those who are interested in how the damage mechanics work in this game, each tank of course has hit points, as in most games you have hit points. This one will have 450. Now we look at the gun at this tier and we see that they do around, this one does around 75 damage a shot, and this is very usual for tier 5. If we look at another tier 5, we see that it does like 130. So anywhere from 50 to 200 is roughly the average for this tier. Now obviously, tank destroyer, if it was just HP damage, this thing would take 2 hits and die. And obviously that wouldn't be very fun. So what they have is armor, and obviously modules inside have their own hit points as well as the crew. So what happens when your tank is hit is obviously the game determines, was a shot on target, where on the model did it hit, etc., to take into account weak spots like say a viewport, hatch, etc. Now if we look at the gun here, we see a penetration stat, which basically means how many millimeters of armor it'll defeat before being stopped, roughly. Obviously it's plus minus 25%, so 110 is not absolute, but on average that's what you're penetrating. But if we look at the AT2's armor, it has 203 frontal armor and 101 on the sides and rear. What this means is if you were to go head on versus another AT2, you would not be able to penetrate them based off the pure hull armor values. Now it does have a few weak spots, which you will see in the replay. I actually defeat another AT2 using said weak spots, but the most effective manner to take on the AT series in the British tech tree and in general tank destroyers is to go around or on the sides, as most tanks in the game, but especially tank destroyers, have high frontal hull armor and or turret, not so much on the sides and rear. Now obviously the drawback to this would be a low engine to weight, power to weight ratio, and obviously a low speed limit, and it turns very slowly at only 18 degrees per second. Now what happens when you're hit is, if you then penetrate, you will obviously hit the internals of the tank. Where you hit determines if you hit a crew member or say a module, and some modules can soak up damage, like tracks, the gun, and the viewports on the outside. All of these are external and can actually negate damage to the point where you will not take any. This is known as a zero damage penetration, as the audio cues say you penetrated, but you've taken no damage. If you hit an internal, you will do damage to the tank, plus that module will also take damage. So you could hit, say, their engine or their radio, and they will have reduced effectiveness. Fuel tanks, if they get hit and take damage, you risk catching fire, as does the engine components. And obviously if you lose a crew member, you lose effectiveness by that crew member, which can be negated by a consumable called a med pack, which fixes them, and obviously a repair kit for modules. And that's basically it. On to the replay. And as you see, we're on the map called Dsann River, as you can see here. This is the game mode Assault, which basically means one side attacks, the other is defending. Obviously, and as you can tell, we are defending by the fact that we have the flag, and you can just about see the cap circle, which is basically an enemy tank stands within there, and then time ticks. Over time you get so many percentage, and after a certain amount of time you end up in winning, basically. You can see our team is evenly spreading out. Thankfully the team didn't go full what is nicknamed Lemming Rush, and everyone goes to the one side, say the left. Here you can see them spreading out relatively evenly. I'm going to speed this up a bit because this tank is slow, and well, I don't think anyone wants to watch about 2 minutes of me just driving into position. You can see on the top right corner, one of our tanks already got killed trying to rush up that hill where enemy tend to camp. And here we see me. I've basically decided this is a good position for me, I'm going to take it. There we see a tier T1 heavy American, another AT2. And there is a bunch of other stuff on that hill, including, I believe, a Panzer III-4, T-49, I believe a Stug 3, and one of the T-35. Did I mention T-34? Yeah. So basically, this is just a game about me holding a corner against, well, taking so many hits, it's unreal. Just watch. Kind of quiet at this point. A few shots ringing down, but nothing really spotting me. And now I've been spotted again. See, I'm taking shots from that M4, the T1, the AT2, the Stug shot at me, and whoever's up on that hill. You can see they blew my tracks up, but thanks to the wonders of the tracks having their own health bar, I don't take any damage. Yay! Of course, I'm stuck here. And the key to this kind of situation is just stay calm, not panic, because your tank can handle it. And if you panic, you might make mistakes, like turn your side to them or something. Here I make something of a risky move. I turn my side to them, but thankfully the spaced armor, or if it's just the tracks, I'm not quite sure, absorbs most, if not all, of the damage coming from that hill. Partially due to the range. As the shells tend to lose penetration over range. Here you can see me just about to finish off that M4 Sherman, and there he goes. First kill of the day. Already done 750 damage. It's not bad for a tier 5 tank. That does 75 damage a shot, roughly. And then again, relatively quiet moment. I back off because, well, I don't want to be on top of a hill or a little mound taking shots forever, as that's kind of risky. I see the AT2 and I figure, I should probably finish him off if I switch to what I'm doing. You can see me here trying to find weak spots. You'll tell I've settled on one right about here. There I shot the track, trying to track him. Now you can see I'm shooting him. You can't really tell from this view, but I'm actually aiming for right here. Right there, where his gun is. And, well, turns out that worked out pretty well. As I consistently and relatively easily tore him to bits. Now my mods aren't working 100%. That counter on the left here should be showing my reload time in seconds, but obviously it isn't. As you can see, I've taken quite a beating now, but still holding. The other side, as you can see over here, basically my team have finished off everything that went this way and are coming inwards, you know, collapsing in on them to finish them off. Mop it up, if you will. And I believe, there we go, I finish off their AT2 and end up standing still here because, well, I kind of slow, so I would never make it up that hill. I decided to let my teammate do the work. See a couple of high explosive shells ringing down. I believe that's the T-49 shooting those, based off what comes in a minute. Here you see me pinging for my team to go, telling them where the rest of them are. And I sit here debating where I should go next. I eventually decide to go up and try and assist my team. Or kill steal, whichever comes first. And I'm just going to speed up again because it's a little bit quiet. Here we see they start coming down the hill and they still keep peppering me. And there the T-49 hit me and killed my driver. But I fixed him, or healed him with a med kit. He must have been using high explosive shells because they can do damage through even the thickest armor, but, well, I'll explain that in a later video. But basically, it does next to no damage, but you can damage my crew. I believe that's what the 6 damage hit was, if you see here. I think that was one of those 2 hits, and that's negligible. And then we see the last guy trying to run away, so I just drive up here, speed it up again. And he disappears, I believe, from the minimap because he manages to kick our team's butt, kills 2 more there. Seemed like a decent player. Comes around here and, well, I start shooting him. For some reason I keep bouncing off his armor, so I decide I'm going to track him. I take his tracks off, and he gets killed. And that's pretty much it, and on to the battle report. And here we see the battle report screen. I earned 27,500 credits. I made 3,800 XP, tripled for the first one of the day. I got cool-headed and steel wall, and those are, for those of you who don't know, cool-headed is for the 10 ricochets in a row, as in they don't penetrate your armor 10 times in a row. And steel wall basically is for, you have to take 11 hits minimum, and a potential damage of 1,000. If you look here, you see all the hits I've done on people, if I killed them or not. You see here is module damage and spotting damage, respectively. If we go to the team score, you see that I was on top of the list in both experience and damage, and I was quite far ahead in both damage and experience. As you see here, the next was 400 damage behind me, and in experience, the nearest was just shy of 300 experience behind me. So all in all, a very good game, in my opinion. If we see here, we see the statistics is I shot 43 times, hit 35 of all those were hits, 24 of those were penetrations, obviously totaling 1,249 damage. I took 110 hits, got penetrated 22 times, took 2 splash damage hits from, I guess, artillery or something. Let's just see. No, that was somebody who was firing high explosive at me. Interesting. 88 non-penetrations, and a sum total of 11,790, almost 12,000 potential damage taken in a tank that has 450 HP. I only detected 1 enemy, which is to be expected in such a slow tank. I damaged 5, which is decent. I could have done more, obviously. Destroyed 2, again, not very many kills, but we did decent damage, so we can't complain. Damage detection, and base capture and defense points are, well, we can ignore those for now. And that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.